Talk about Mexican Independence Day. We can call it Teddy Atlas here in Las Vegas, Nevada. You heard from the champion himself, knocking out the competition. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Richard Ortiz of The Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters. And I'm like our guest today, Desert Storm's only Mr. Timothy Bradley, who's a five-time. Yay, let me tell you what you are. I was humble, Timmy. You're very humble. You don't let people talk about being a two-time Hall of Fame inductee, a five-time world champion, two-division world champion, and you shocked the world by beating the man who beat the man. Always be remembered, which made you a household name when you dethroned Manny Pacquiao. But enough about that. I want to talk about your new attributes and how you reinvented yourself as one of the best boxing analysts in the world. So welcome to The Fighter's Voice, Timothy.
What's good, man? Hey, I appreciate the intro. I appreciate you.
Okay.
Let me clap it up for you, man.
All right. That's what we do.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate you, Rich.
I appreciate you too, man. It's been a long time coming. I've been patient, and I said to myself, you know what? When it happens, it will happen.
Yeah, well, I ran into you in Vegas about a week ago. Ran into you in Vegas, and just set it up, man. It's been a long time coming, but I hadn't seen you in a while, so it was really good to see you. And so now we here.
Yeah. Now we're here and we're doing it. We're doing it 100. But I will say this, man. I met you a long time ago. I met you in Lemoore, California, and you were managing. You had a different hat on. You were managing. I believe the last name was Ortiz, a fighter.
Yeah. There was a couple of guys that my wife and I were handling at that time. But we're no longer affiliated with them. No longer affiliated with them. Their paths went different directions, and we also went different directions as well. But yeah, I do remember that. I do remember seeing you. I do recall that moment, actually seeing you then. Yeah.
Timmy, you've been from fighter to manager to father, you name it. You wore several hats. The biggest question I got today, honestly, was how did it feel when Teddy Atlas was in your corner and he was giving you, hey, let's come out, we're firemen, let's make that happen, make this happen. You stepped up to the challenge and you delivered. I mean, was that true motivation, or is that something you knew you had to do?
No, I think Teddy is smart enough to understand a fighter's psychology, and I think he realized that I was heading down a certain path that he felt that would be detrimental for me if I was to continue down the path. So I always tell fighters, and I always tell people that coaches are not just X's and O's. They're psychologists. They might be even financial advisors. They might even be a father figure to a lot of these boxers. They're more than just a coach. So motivation is a part of it as well. Although I was controlling the action with Brandon Rios, he started to come on. And Teddy knows. He knows, hey, don't let this guy come on. So, he gave me that little speech, that fireman speech, man, that went viral. Still today, man, I get a lot of people that send me that speech early in the morning and says, man, this fires my day up. And I listen to the speech every single morning, man, to get my day started. So, but it was the right appropriate speech at the right time. And a few rounds later, I was able to get Brandon Rios up out of there.
I tell you what's a personal favorite for me, Timothy, is when you dethroned. Oh gosh, dang it! Now I'm getting a blank right now. My man,
Manny?
What's that? No, not just Manny. That was a good fight. I like the rematch. Marquez. I'm telling you,
Marquez.
When you did that, I was eating, and I was like, I just stood up, and everybody got to see a side of me that I always try to keep composed. Not try to get too excited. And you made my evening that night. You really did.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, man. That whole camp was dedicated. To be honest with you, my father and I, my father was saying, this is the match that's gonna get you in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
This one right here. They didn't believe us when we beat Manny Pacquiao. They not gonna believe you when you beat Marquez, especially after he knocked out Pacquiao.
Yes.
And that year, the 2013. I actually was the fight of the year with Ruslan Pavatnikov. So I was coming off
That was
that
slugfest.
crazy fight,
Yes.
going into the Marquez fight, and everybody, had their doubts about me, and like a lot of people felt that I was damaged goods. The amount of damage that I took in that fight, and I was openly, I openly spoke about it. All the things that I had to go through to get ready for the Marquez fight, but yeah, I would say that was my best performance of my career, to be honest with you.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I think it was the best performance of my. You know, I was a damn good boxer, man. I was a cerebral fighter, to be honest with you. When I was in the amateurs, I was a thinking fighter. I was a moving fighter. I was a more of a, I would say, had it more of a cutesy type of style. I was a cutie, in and out, flashy. But as I, evolved in the pros, Joel Diaz, my trainer, was like, "Man, you want to be more appealing, man. Like you want to have people wanting to come and see you. You can't just dance around the ring all night, Tim. Like you gotta fight too." So having that Mexican style trainer, and he showed me how to fight in the inside and how to pressure guys. I just elevated my game, man. So I always had that boxing ability in my bag of tricks. I just never brought it out because I didn't have to, one, and two, because I wanted to be entertaining. That I wanted to mix it up and get hit every now and then and dish it back. So, but that was my style, man. But thanks to Joel Diaz, he made me more of a hunting type of fighter. He says that's what people want to see. They want to see guys go at it, not one guy just run around the ring. So.
I have you labeled down as a boxer puncher, but every now and then you would stand your ground. Once you would get hit, you would turn it.
Yeah,
You would turn into Evander Holyfield. Everything
yeah.
was out the box, and you just said, "I'm going to stand my ground because I'm going to hit him back. I'm not going to wait till the next round or what have you. I'm going to hit him right back in the
Yeah,
mouth."
yeah. That's the counterattack. It's just like in soccer, right? I mean, as soon as you get that ball, you're trying to counter.
Absolutely.
You're trying to counter quickly, trying to catch them out of position. So for me, it was more that effect, but at the same time, it was more so like I'm not finna let you just, I'm not finna let you land. And I know it's like I don't know, it's somewhat taboo in the ring. Everybody always says, like when you get hit, you want to take your time, you want to get it back. That wasn't me, man. That wasn't my mindset, man. That wasn't my concept. My concept was like, nah, this guy thought he'd done something. I'm gonna get it right back. One, I'm gonna show the judges that he's not in charge. I'm the boss, and I can hit him whenever I want to hit him. You know what I mean? And plus, it's going to take someone from his morale, because he just got done hitting me. And I don't know. You've been in the ring before, man? Have you been in the ring before?
I've been in the ring
Have
before.
you have you have you have you sparred?
I've sparred. Yes.
So you land a good shot. How does that make you feel when you hit? I mean, you can see it. You can see his face. You can see him back up. It's like, okay, I got you.
I was I was
How did it make you feel?
I was a good sparring partner. I always checked on him to make sure I didn't follow up. I said, "You good?" Just like playing 21 in basketball. When I landed something good, I would always check. I'd step back and ask him, "You good?" I didn't always have
but
that
I'm
coming
just
to me.
saying. But
Yeah,
it
it
still
did. It
make you
did.
feel good, right?
Especially when I set a trap.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, you set a trap and make you feel
Yeah.
good. But shoot, I'm trying to get that right back.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
I'm not finna let you feel good for no longer than 10 seconds. Cause I'm gonna get it back. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
that was my frame of mind and the way I thought about the game.
I'm glad you say that. I'm going to say something real small off topic, only because you mentioned soccer and catching them off guard. When we coached, when my daughter and son played travel, whenever the other team would have a corner kick, and they're getting ready to score off us. I've always said we're countering. We're going to score off them. Our goalie gets that ball. Everybody's up front. Let's catch him slipping, punt it out. It's one-on-one. And when it's one-on-one, you take it. You score right off them because their counterattack was offensively. They got nothing defensively. So when our goalie gets that ball,
Nothing.
clearing it out, we're scoring. Lasso.
And that's exactly what happens. So when the guy lands a good punch, what does he do? He get a little bit relaxed.
Yes, exactly.
And once he gets relaxed, I'm coming at you. Don't sit back and think that you've done something. Absolutely not. I'm gonna come at you the right way. I'm not gonna be reckless, but I'm gonna come at you the right way, man, and make sure that I get you when it's a safe time. Or when I do see the opening, or I might even create the opening, man. Just bag you up, force you out the pocket, force you on the retreat. And as your feet are moving, guess what? Mine are too, but I'm coming forward. You're going backwards. You're not set to punch. It's just all tactics and strategy, man.
I think you're very underrated as one of the most thinking fighters out there because you didn't just
I was a thinking
you
fighter.
didn't just attack recklessly. You thought about the process. You invested
Yeah.
in feints. You invested in setting traps, and now it's time to cash
Yep.
in.
Yeah. Absolutely. I look, because my style wasn't like super eye appealing. Because my style wasn't like it wasn't one thing that I was like really spectacular at. You know what I mean? I
Timothy,
was
you
more
were
of a
almost fight. You were
well-rounded.
fight of the year. What are you talking about? You
I
put
was
butts in the seats.
well-rounded. I was well-rounded. That's what it was. I was well-rounded. So like skill-wise, I had some skill. I wasn't the most skillful. You know what I mean? But the one thing that I could do is read my opponents. I know what they're gonna do before they even do it. I know what they throw. I get used to the patterns that they're doing. Every fighter has patterns, man. Every single fighter has patterns. Favorite combinations they throw, favorite jab sequences they throw. Some throw single jabs. And some even, you shoot a jab, they shoot a jab. I'm recognizing all of those things, man. And it's like, okay, I just shot a jab, he just shot a jab. Let me see if he does it again. I shoot a jab. Oh, he shoots a jab. Okay, all right. Monkey see, monkey do. I got something for you. All right, let me shoot the jab out. He gonna shoot the jab. I'm already set up for the counter. Counter right hand over his jab. Follow with the left hook. Boom. All right. I'm gonna build off of that now. You know what I mean? And that's how I'm thinking. I'm thinking 2 steps ahead. I'm setting traps. I'm doing things just to set traps so that way you can punch and then I can take advantage of you. Anytime a fighter punches, just understand this, Rich. Anytime a fighter punches, there's always an opening. Always an
Exactly.
opening.
Exactly. That's why a lot of fighters are hesitant and really going to the body with everything they have because they're open to that. But once they commit to it, there's no turning back. And you're the type of fighter that would study another fighter's muscle memory.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And many people don't understand that. I think many fighters, that's what they lack today. There's some top fighters out there that I do consider, having a really high IQ, ring IQ. Shakur Stevenson, Inoue, Usyk. I mean, all these top guys, they have really high ring IQs. Bam Bam Rodriguez, Bam got it too.
Oh yeah.
You know, um, they you have to have that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, in order to remain at the top.
That's-
IQ, ring IQ is one of the most important things in
Absolutely.
boxing, if not the most important
Well,
thing.
you had a chess match with Eric Marquez, and he has a high boxing IQ. I mean,
Oh
James
yeah.
James Toney has a high IQ.
Oh yeah.
Tank Davis doesn't get too much credit for his boxing IQ. There's a lot of
He
smart
does have
fighters
an
out
IQ.
there. What was that?
He does. No, you're right. Tank does have a high boxing IQ. He really does. And that's what I see, and that's the reason why I rate him still high today, even though he had the draw and all that. Like I like, and everyone said, "Oh, he ain't fought nobody." I'm like, man, look, I've been around this sport a very long time. Do you find very few guys that have the speed and the power and the IQ of a Tank
I
Davis?
agree.
I don't care about all this. I look. That's one thing, but from skill to skill and fighter to fighter and knowing what another fighter has, I see that he does have a high IQ, boxing IQ. So yeah, I have to agree with you on that one.
I will say this: I commend you for laying it out there. Nobody else has laid it out there. Tank Davis himself has laid it out there, and I'm more of a supporter now that he stood up and said, "I'm gonna keep it real. Watch my and excuse my French." He said, "Man, that's some like devil shit out there." He said they sold their souls, man. He goes, "That's kind of creepy out there." He goes, "Look at them." And then you said, "You know what? I got a new respect for you because you didn't go there and kiss the brass ring. You're sitting your ground."
Yeah,
And when you made that
yeah,
comment, you had to know for the most part you would be all alone because it's not the most comment that everybody wants to get on there and say, "You know what? I agree with you, Timothy Bradley." But I'm saying right now, Rich Ortiz, the host of the Fighter's Voice, Timothy Bradley, I agree with you 100%, and I agree with Tank Davis's comment 100%.
yeah. To each his own.
Yeah,
To each his own. I'm a man. I like loyalty. Um, I'm learning. you know, this new generation, there's no loyalty in business. I'm like, why isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. If I've been supporting you and you've been supporting me for over the years, and it's been a great, fantastic relationship, why do I need to go anywhere? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like I'm here, I'm happy. And just because it's just like you've had an employee for 25 years that work for you, right? And then all of a sudden you got another company similar to what you are. They're paying them another $1 extra. You know, you're gonna go over there. I mean, look at everything else that I'm giving you, right?
Yeah.
Look, you get paid vacation. You call me. I know your family. Like, bro, like that's how I'm old school in that way.
Yeah.
So, you know, everyone's quick to jump ship and go to the buck. And, you know, when somebody's down, they not there to support. It's like, look, PBC, you know, they not what they used to be, but you know what? They still relevant.
Yeah.
And those guys, I'm just saying, Al Heyman has been done right by these guys, man, and getting these guys paid and got them money. And so when I saw Tank do what he did, I'm like, you know what? I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like, because there's not a lot of fighters out there that have that type of loyalty in the game.
Yeah. And speaking of PVC, hey, shout out to Sam Watson, my dude. Sam Watson.
Oh,
That's a
I
good
know
dude.
Sam. Yeah, I know Sam Watson. Sam Watson, cool.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, I know Sam, and you know, I know a lot of the people over there, man. You know, I just again, my family is TR. TR, my family, man. You know,
Right.
look, I've been loyal to TR because they've been loyal to me. You know what I mean? I'm here in this seat. You know, they gave me an opportunity. I kept the door open with the commentary. You know, but you know, without them, I wouldn't been to have this opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So I never forget that, man. I always count my blessings every single day, man. And again, I support those that support me.
Shout out to my buddy Shally Hollis from the Black Corner. He said, Richard,
Okay.
and I agree. He said, Dre and Timothy, the best tandem in boxing. We don't know why
Yeah.
they didn't. I don't know. Batman off Robin, Robin and Batman. At times you were Batman, he was Robin, and vice versa. You guys had a great
It's just
tandem and chemistry.
yeah, it's just that was just numbers. That was just numbers. It was just, you know, business. It had nothing to do with Dre's performance. It has nothing to do. He was fantastic. You
Awesome.
know what I mean? And like you said, we had a duel,
Yes, you did.
and it was I don't want to say duel, but we had a bond, right?
Yes.
Yin and yang,
Yep.
right? Um, and it was fun. I really enjoyed it, man, and I really do still today, still miss Dre. You know, being on air with him as well. I love this perspective. You know, he was a broad thinker. You know,
I
and
agree
and
with
that
you
was
right there.
definitely needed and missed on the broadcast. You know what I mean? I'm more a straight shooter.
Yep.
He was more of a broad thinker. You know what I mean? So
He had
it
it on
went together. The
hey
contract
Tim.
was there.
Tim, he had it on safety. You were ready to go.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. He had it on safety for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I was ready to, hey, boom.
yeah,
And it's crazy because a lot of times me and him, we would say the same thing, but I'm just so blunt with mine. He wraps it up in a beautiful bow and he's like, here you go.
yeah.
And it's like, why everybody mad at me? Dre said the same thing, but it's how Dre said it. That's the difference, Tim. He just didn't come out and straight up say that, hey, you need a new trainer or this or that, you know? So I'm like, I hear you. I get it.
He's definitely a thinker before he speaks. He thinks about every
Oh
single
yeah.
thing, and it's dissecting in the middle of microseconds before he delivers. But he thinks at on
Oh,
the way
absolutely.
out from the tip of his tongue. Trust me. Yes,
But that's the way he fought too.
exactly,
That's exactly the way he fought. Yeah,
exactly.
he fought the same way. You know what I mean? He's looking left and right 2 times before he even walk out in the street, you know?
And
You know, he's not gonna ever second guess himself. He's gonna be sure that everything is right, man. And that's what I respect about Dre, and that's what he put forth in his career as well. Very smart fighter, very cerebral fighter.
you know what? Wiped out, cleaned the plate completely with anybody even thinking anything else on that rematch. Took it to his
Oh
opponent,
yeah. Oh,
outthought him, took him
absolutely.
to deep waters, went to the body on him, and just he made him
Hmm.
quit rounds before the fight was called.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Drake. I thought the first fight was
Oh,
fantastic,
good
and I
fight.
know people go back and forth, but I thought he fought brilliantly and valiantly in that first fight, and coming back off that knockdown
Agree.
and winning that first fight.
I agree with you.
I mean, dude, I don't understand why that wasn't fight of the year, because that was a fantastic fight, man. And these, you have two guys in there that are thinkers, thinkers, but you got one in there that's a major puncher, in Kovalev. But Dre was, man, he was just, again, he was in the mix. He was fighting fire with fire at spots. He was boxing in spots. He did a little bit of everything. But I was a fun fight to watch. And I don't know if you should go back, because you're talking about the fireman speech, but you need to go hear what Virgil said to Dre about Ali, went down. Like, you need to go hear
Yeah.
that speech in that corner, because that was a fantastic speech as well after he got knocked down and he went back to that corner.
Yes, exactly.
And Virgil let him know that it's okay. It's how you bounce back from this.
Yeah.
That's what makes you great, son. It happens to the best of us. It happens to the greatest fighters in the world. But you know what? What they did? They were able to pull it out, and that's what you're gonna do right now. So it was great, man. So go back and watch that if you ever seen that. Kovalev, Andre Ward won, and when he got knocked down, I believe it might have been the fifth round. If I might be
They
mistaken on
both
the round,
stepped
but
in
I think
right
he
hand.
got dropped in the fifth.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I ain't forgot.
Yep.
Trust me. And he didn't get credit for the questions were answered. How does he react to a hard right hand? What does he do once he faces adversity? And he answered all those questions.
Yeah, I think a lot of fighters. Look, you have a lot of fighters in the game that has never tasted the canvas, has never touched the canvas. We sit back and we judge them based upon the work that they do, right? And you being an analyst, we judge them. But I always tell people all the time that we really don't know how great these guys are until adversity hits, until they get rocked, they world get rocked, right?
Yes.
And then we get to see how they respond, what they have on the inside. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's what you know what I'm saying? Like, people's like, well, you don't want that to happen. Of course you don't want that to happen. Of course we don't want that to happen, but it happens to every single fighter.
Yes,
and that's when we find out exactly what they really want in their heart, what they truly desire, and how bad they want to win. So when Dre got knocked down, when I got knocked down, I get back up. And I keep showing the world what I'm made of. When that Phagnasay fight, when I kept getting rocked over and over and over again, it was all to show the world, man, to show the world that, hey, I am a true champion. I am a true champion. I am a warrior, and I'm here to show you guys that.
You talk about a lot of people might have questioned or saying, is Timothy Bradley the same after that fight? This is a fair question. Was he the same after the fight? You see where I'm going?
Hello?
Yeah, exactly.
Hello?
Yeah, exactly.
Hello?
Exactly.
Yeah, I wasn't the biggest puncher, but I hit you 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I'll hit you 1,000 times, and them 1,000 times add up to that one big one. It might, getting hit 1,000 times is worse than just one single punch.
Yes, it is.
You know that,
the
right?
Accumulation of punch. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It does damage mentally, physically,
yeah.
spiritually. You don't bounce back from that. You have nightmares over that.
Oh, yeah. Getting hit 1,000 times over just one punch, and I go to sleep, and I don't even realize I went to sleep. Okay, I took a nap. I woke up. I'm good. I'm concussed. But 1,000 punches over and over and over. Man, that's too many shots.
No.
That's gonna do more damage long term than just a single punch.
Those killer bees.
That's why a lot of guys in MMA, they get caught, they get knocked out, and they can bounce back real quick.
Yeah.
They got longer careers than a fighter, than a boxer.
Yeah, exactly. Because you keep getting poked and stung all day, them killer bees are going to come over for your honey. They're going to take your soul.
You ain't lying on that, man. I like that analogy. That's funny.
You can use that next time you're broadcasting live on ESPN. You let you borrow it. And then you can nudge Mark Kriegel a little bit.
Yeah. Me and Mark, man. The angry old man. I love Mark, man. He angry all the time, though. New York.
I'm going to tell you this real quick, and I appreciate this. Mark called me one time on a Sunday, and he said, Richard, no more effing car interviews. If they're not going to sit down with you or take time with you, F them. So I never forgot that. And he told me the other day, just called me on a Tuesday, said, Richard, I wore a certain logo or I wore something with a certain company. And he said, don't do that. If you want to be taken serious, don't do that. And then it was like, okay, I got to go now. I'll talk to you later. But he wanted to give it to me. And I appreciate
Yeah.
that. And those are the calls that I appreciate. Those are the comments. That was what I need to continue to build and continue to grow.
Yeah. I think we all need that, that constructive criticism,
There you
right?
go.
Someone that you feel that's truly your friend and really cares about you.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be afraid. You shouldn't be afraid. You being a friend of that friend, right?
Yeah.
Of that person, you shouldn't be afraid to say a little truth in what you think,
No.
right?
No.
And of course, you were receptive to it,
Absolutely.
obviously,
Hey, you get a
but
phone
a
call
lot of
from the
time.
GOAT? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he does that to me all the time. I just tell him to be quiet. Shut up, Kriegel. Be quiet. Don't tell me nothing. Because after a while, I'm like, man, I know already. Like, be quiet, man. Leave me alone, man. Hey, Tim, you should take this word off. Tim, don't use that word. Hey, because I do a little writing for ESPN.com. So I
There
do
you
some
go.
writing. He's just like, send me over your work. And I'm like, I don't want it to be your work, Kriegel. You're gonna change it the way you want it to sound. And I don't want it to sound like you. I want it to sound like me, Kriegel.
There you
And
go.
he's like, man, just give me some time with it. I'll edit it for you, this and that. I'll do a better job. You got too many words, Tim. Shorten it up. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I know, Kriegel. I get it. But this is how I do it. So he's always giving me great advice as well, man. Not only at work, but also life advice as well.
There you go. I'm glad you concur. So I'm going to keep it real with you. And there's one that's a fun comment, and there's one I'm going to keep it real. First of all, I think you had 2 fights left in you before you called it. Years back, I got to remember, I live in the 559, the Jose Ramirez era, right, in Fresno, California.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a
Mm-hmm.
poster. It was given to me ahead of time. Said, Richard, don't say nothing. Don't post it. Don't say nothing. This is Jose's next fight. It had Timothy Bradley and Jose Ramirez on there. It's supposed to take place in Fresno.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that, and I'm a big fan. I'm a supporter of Jose. And I said to myself, Jose is not ready for this fight. Jose is not ready for this type of fighter this early in his career. Timothy Bradley is not a gatekeeper. Timothy Bradley is not the name to get you to the next level. This fight does not need to happen. And I think if it had happened, we wouldn't be probably mentioning Jose. I'm going to keep it real. We probably would not be mentioning Jose Ramirez's name fighting May 2nd. Because I truly believe that was way premature to even put him on a poster with you at that point in time in Jose Ramirez's young, early career.
It's so funny you say that because, I get the whole, you retired because you didn't want to fight Earl Spence. I don't think fans really understand boxing. Let me just say that first off. And I'm like, okay, I fight Manny Pacquiao, Marquez. Aren't those guys better than Earl Spence? Why am I scared to fight this guy? I retired because I didn't want to fight him. No, that's not true. Then it's like, hey, you retired because you didn't want to fight Ramirez. And I'm like, I did Ramirez a favor by not fighting him. Because if I would have fought him, I would have beat him. And it's no shade on Ramirez. It's no shade on him. I think he's a tremendous fighter. But there was levels, and he ain't never seen a level, my level, right? And I decided to retire. It wasn't because of Ramirez. It was because I was saying, do I want to go back in the training camp? Does can my body withstand another training camp? I left some money, like you said, on the table. I did have a couple more fights left in me.
Absolutely.
However, I was like, what's more important, my health or money? And I'm like, I've made enough money. My wife and I have invested our money extremely well. We're good. We're set. There's no need for me to continue. I went to Australia and I saw Manny Pacquiao fight against Jeff Horn, and that fight was brutal for Manny Pacquiao. At that point, I thought Manny Pacquiao should have retired then.
Was
I
that
mean,
your
Manny
debut? Was
Pacquiao,
that your commentating debut?
that was my debut.
Boom.
Yeah, that was my debut. So I'm like, my gosh, I don't want to look like that. I don't want I want to retire from boxing. I don't want boxing to retire me.
Amen.
You know, I don't want to get in there and get beat up and be in a situation like Manny Pacquiao and be all bloodied and battered and, you know, lose a decision to an up and coming guy. Absolutely not. You know, so I'm like, you know what? I'm not. I'm retired. I'm done. I'm done. I've had enough of it. On the plane ride, that's when I decided. From Australia, that's when I decided. You know what? I'm good. But anyways, to your point about Ramirez, good fighter, got skills, very determined, very hungry fighter. I get that. I was hungry too. But I just felt like my boxing ability and what I brought into the ring and my mixture of attacks. You just didn't have to worry about me boxing. You also had to worry about me slugging too.
Absolutely.
You know, you had to worry about me slugging too. And I was one of those guys that can slug with the Mexican fighters. I had a Mexican Hispanic trainer, a Mexican trainer, you know, that taught me how to fight in the inside and fight against Mexican fighters. And I'm on the West Coast too. So Mexican type of fighters come a dime a dozen. You know, I was smart. You know, I could set traps. I knew Ramirez very well, very, very
Yeah.
well. I watched Ramirez, you know. And so, you know, with that being said, I know it's water under the bridge now. The fight didn't materialize, but I'll tell you guys this. It was a blessing that I didn't fight against Ramirez because Ramirez that you see now probably wouldn't be where he's at today if he would have fought against me, and that's a promise. So no shade on Ramirez. I love his manager, Rick Meridian. Like I appreciate those guys. They're good people, man. Yeah, I respect those guys. But that's my opinion. That's how I feel. You know what I mean? And you know, if it seems to me you feel the same way.
I brought it up. So you got to remember that. And
Yeah.
I live in Fresno with Jose. I'm here with Jose early in his career. Let me, use my voice to do a documentary for him. I'm a supporter. I'm a fan. I acknowledge where he's at.
Yeah.
But at that particular time,
At that time,
it was no.
yeah,
The timing
yeah,
was horrible. It was.
yeah,
I'm gonna take it to another level. It was horrible, and whoever was thinking about it was very poor thinking. I'm gonna keep it real.
Well, it was more so. It was more so. I think it was more so. Um, you know, when you hit promoters, also fighters, they feel that you're not as good as you were. He felt like they might have been catching me on a downslope, like on my downslope, right? The back end, the tail end of my career, the twilight of my career. Tim's, out the door, so on and so forth. To be honest with you, I was out the door. I retired. I was contemplating that. And so imagine me, right, contemplating retirement and going into a fight with him. Anything can happen now
Yeah, that's
because my
true.
mindset is not right.
That's true.
So that's what they were hoping for. And they knew I was contemplating because I spoke in the top rank execs, and they know exactly what I was trying to do. They understand that I was trying to retire, and I was deciding on if I wanted to continue or not. But they laid that fight out to me, and I was just like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to do it. I don't need to do that fight. Because I know my mind wasn't right one, but if I was geared up, if I was right mentally and I wasn't contemplating retirement, Jose Ramirez, it would have been on and cracking. We would have went at it. That's for damn sure. We would have went at it, my man.
I don't doubt that it would have happened, man,
Yeah.
and you would have had that mind frame. So that's definitely
Oh yeah.
something
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm glad it didn't happen because now we're here to talk about this. Now let's talk about a fight that is going to happen May 2nd. Jose Ramirez taking on Devin Haney, and I'm going to ask you this question. I asked Regis Prograis the same question. Is Jose Ramirez fighting Devin Haney at the right time, or is Devin Haney fighting Jose Ramirez at the right time?
I think they're fighting. I think they're meant for each other. I don't think it's one or the other. I think they're meant for each other. I think that at this point, Devin Haney, by the way, this isn't an easy, I don't think this is an easy proposition for Devin Haney. I think Jose, he has a level of resilience and strength. I do feel like Jose is in the twilight of his career, to be honest with you, after watching his fight against Barboza, who is a boxer who likes to use his legs and set traps and counters. Haney, I would say this: Haney can make this fight easy for himself if he makes it boring. He has to make it boring. It can't be an exciting fight. And I
I
said the
agree.
same thing about Barboza as well, because Jose is one of those guys, although I think he's at the tail end of his career, he's one of those guys that the more he gets hit, the more dangerous he becomes. He's one of those guys that likes action, you know, and getting hit actually fuels him. It fuels him and it makes him mad, and he goes mad inside the ring. But it enhances his abilities when he's in a fight, because that's his way of fighting. Jose can box, but again, his nature, his heart, his mind, his heart takes over his mind. He can box. This dude is an
Yeah,
Olympian,
exactly. I
man.
agree. He's an Olympian. A lot of people forget about that.
But at the same time, he doesn't need to box. What he needs to do is he needs to come forward. He needs to cut off the ring, and he needs to be a little bit quicker on his feet, a little bit quicker on the trigger. And that's where I see him having a problem against Haney. Although Haney, on the flip side of that, Haney has a hard time blocking left hooks. And you talk about muscle memory. You talk about muscle memory, right?
Yes.
Well, when you go with that boring arrow jab that he's been throwing since he was a kid, dropping that lead hand, pushing out and parrying shots like this, thinking that a jab is coming, a left hook sneaks around. Jose got a devastating left hook as
Yes,
well.
he does.
Not as quick as a Garcia or Ryan Garcia. However, he still possesses a left hook, a punch that gives Haney problems, and we all know that. Well, Haney, he's been training for about a year now.
Yeah.
He's took the proper time off.
Yeah.
He
Good
gave
time
his
off.
body, his mind some rest, which is good. But at the same time, there's still some caution with him, especially early in the fight, especially with Jose fighting at 144 pounds as opposed to 140 pounds now. So he's going to have a little bit of extra oomph on his punches, a little bit more extra energy on his punches as well, and he's going to come to fight out the gate because he knows that pressure is what can get to Haney. So they need each other, I think. I think if Jose wins this fight, his stock rises again.
I agree.
It kind of dropped off when he fought against Barboza. It dropped off a bit, kind of sizzled out. But now, if he can get a win over Haney, his stock's going to rise again. He's going to get another shot at something big, maybe even the winner of the main event that night, Ryan Garcia. Rolly Romero. Maybe he can get that. But if Haney wins, then Haney goes on and fights Ryan Garcia, as we know, and Jose, his stock really drops and tumbles then. And then it's going to be a choice of, do I can stay in the game and continue to, make money because I'm not going to make this type of money in my life nowhere else? Or, do I retire? Because if you can't beat a guy like Devin Haney, who's coming off this devastating quote unquote now, what is it? A no contest now? Coming off this no contest?
They're calling it a no contest.
Then
it never
it's a
happened.
no contest, but we all know what happened.
Yeah.
Coming off, one of the worst performances of his career, or one of the most brutal, I would say, brutal performances, then, I don't know. You may have to think about, what you're doing, Ramirez, to be honest with you. So we'll see. We'll see, but they need each other. This is a good test for Haney and a good test to see whatever Ramirez has left.
The only news that I've heard to this is they may go ahead and bump it up to exactly 147. I'm hearing from the Haney's camp, instead of the 144, let's just go the whole 147, which Team Ramirez doesn't have a problem moving up the extra pounds. But we shall see. Both men have come in strong. Both men can use that extra weight because both men got that frame that can carry the weight. So I think that'll be a plus for both men.
Oh, I absolutely, I feel the same way. I think both guys would definitely benefit for having that extra weight on them and not having them squeeze down to 140 pounds. and hopefully, because of dehydration, of
Yeah.
course, you know, hopefully Haney's ability to be able to take a punch. Not to saying that he got a weak chin, because he was able to get up from shots from Ryan Garcia. He was able to get up. You got to give him credit for that.
Absolutely.
But hopefully he's just not as chinny as he was in a Ryan Garcia fight if he gets touched on that chin. So maybe that added weight will help him, give him a little bit more fluid on that brain and be able to absorb and take a better shot.
I agree. I think Devin Haney, we already know, has one of the best set of legs in boxing when he moves side to side. Jose Ramirez, he's going to have to start faster than he normally starts. You can't afford to give 1 or 2, 3 rounds away. You have to let him know you're in the fight right off the bat, whether you're hitting the hips, the chest, the arms, whatever. He just needs to feel you and be reminded, hey, this is what happened a while back. And I think I'm waiting for I want to see a competitive fight. I really do. But if we do see a competitive fight, Tim, that has to favor Ramirez. Like you said, off the back foot.
If
That's
it's the
Haney all day.
competitive fight, it's going to favor Ramirez.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It can favor Ramirez, but at the same time, it could favor the quicker hands of Haney too,
Yeah.
if he can get off with kick combination, bing, 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 and you already know where he's gonna go after that. He's gonna go tie you up.
Yeah.
Hit and tie up. That's Haney's style. Hit and tie up. Hit and tie up. So Jose, if I'm in Jose's corner, we're working on breaking those tie-ups. That's what we're working on, because we know we're gonna press. We know we're gonna be able to close the distance, because Haney, I feel, was not the biggest puncher in the world. So we're gonna walk through some fire to get ours. But we gotta be ready for him to reach out and tie us up. And we need to have an uppercut or something when he's reaching out, step back and hit him with an uppercut, and come back with that left hook.
Yeah.
We're gonna have something in store for him if he tries to do that. So, but yeah, fast pace. Push the fast pace, get off to it, with his jab, and bag up Haney and cut off the ring and corner him, bang down to that body, and avoid those tie-ups. And throw that left hook as often as possible. And he can do something. We'll see if he can do something, man.
I'm looking forward to that. And one other fight I'm looking forward
to
is, in my opinion, I think this should be at least the co-main event. And I'm talking about Teofimo Lopez, Arnold Barboza. I know Arnold wanted this fight for a while. And my question I asked myself, Timothy, can you want to fight too much where you overthink and now you're fighting within yourself because you're really not focused or concentrating, you're breathing heavy because you want to impose your will so bad on another man? Or is it hard to control your emotions and stay calm and collective? I'm talking about Arnold Barboza going into this fight with Teofimo Lopez.
Good. Well, you just kind of answered that your own question, because controlling your emotions. He's been controlling his emotions and been controlling a lot of things that he couldn't control, right? Because he's been waiting forever to fight for a world championship. Undefeated forever. 13 or 12 some odd years. I don't know. You can look it up on BoxRec. But it's been a long time before this young man, now older man, has tasted and gotten the opportunity or earned the opportunity to fight for a world championship. So he's been patient. I don't think patience is the thing that we need to worry about with Barboza.
You called him the black horse.
He's a smart, cerebral fighter. He's a smart fighter.
Yes.
He's a smart fighter. And what I like about him and his chances is that he is versatile. He's versatile. So he can box and he can also pressure. One way ain't gonna beat Teofimo Lopez. You just not gonna pressure him and think you're gonna beat him. That's not gonna happen. He's too smart. He's cerebral, very athletic, and he has pop on his shots, and he got good speed and timing. Right? So you walking him down and trying to get in his grill, you might have success for maybe 1 or 2 rounds, but then sooner or later you're gonna be eating some shots, because the kid got good vision and he got good combinations as well. He throws some real damn precise combinations in power shots. So he's gonna have to box a little bit, and he's gonna have to pressure a little bit. And he's gonna have to choose when to do it. Barboza, because Tio can sit back and he'll wait on you. He'll wait on you. He'll let you work to be able to line up his shots. But if Barboza chooses to fight, Tio will chooses to bag up. Tio will come forward too. So this is going to be one of those chess matches, man. It's not going to be a highly entertaining fight. It's going to be a chess match, because both guys are versatile, bruh. T.O. is versatile, more explosive, got punching power, but you got a more, I think, more technically all around fighter in Barboza. I think that's the small little difference. The gifts, the physical gifts of T.O., but then you got the all around, he can do a little bit of everything. Nothing really spectacular like Teofimo Lopez, who has superior timing, right? And athletic gifts, right?
Yeah.
And he can out of nowhere leap in with a shot,
Yeah.
man, and catch you and hurt you, stun you, and then, take you out. That, so you got to deal with that, being Barboza. So that's a compelling matchup. Those are the type of matchups that I like where, I'm unsure who's going to win. You can say Teofimo, he got the name, he fought better competition, but when you have someone so is hungry and determined and focused like a Barboza who's coming in with so much confidence and know that Teofimo Lopez has stayed away from him for years since he's been at Top Rank.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he feels that like I'm gonna eat you. Like I'm gonna eat you, man. But I'm gonna eat you the right way. But I'm gonna eat you. I'm gonna dominate you. I'm gonna outwork you. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win the fight. So that's the fight I'm looking forward to. That's the highlight for me. That fight right there should be the main event. To be honest with you, that fight should be the main event.
Come on, I'm not gonna stop you there.
Yeah. Yeah, the fight should be the main event. I don't understand why the fight's not the main event, to be honest with you. And it's no offense to Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
I get his popularity, but Ryan Garcia ain't never won a world championship. Ain't never won a world championship at all. Rolly was given a world championship, if you want to be honest.
Yeah, that would be it.
Because he lost. He honestly lost, but they robbed him when he fought against
Garcia's fighter.
Man, what's his name?
Against Garcia's
Barcelos.
fighter.
Yeah. So, but anyways, the main event to me is the co-main. The co-main is the main event.
I agree.
That's gonna be a damn good fight.
Yeah.
And I don't know who's gonna win. That's 50-50 in my eyes.
It is. I can't say this, and it's easier said than done. You can't allow Theo to have fun in there. You can't allow Theo to get his rhythm.
Hello?
Yes. You can't allow him to get his rhythm. Because when he gets his
you can't
rhythm,
allow any fighter to get in their rhythm.
No, his rhythm is fun. His rhythm is he's in there having fun. His antics, his being able to throw bunches off beat, off course, not coming at you regular, Timothy, that make you think like, okay, this guy's not, he's special. You don't want to say special, but you may consume. He's not a regular guy. You can't allow him to have his way in there. When he starts the backhanding, the showing the athleticism, when he does that, his confidence rises. There used to be an MMA fighter, Spider Silva, Anderson Silva. When he got his rhythm, his antics, you cannot allow him to do that. And what's it going to take? Roughhousing him, clenching, make it ugly for a while, because you got to offset Theo. When Theo was having fun this training camp, he's not showing off. They're showing off and there's having fun. You got a fighter having fun, Timothy, he becomes a dangerous fighter because he's focused and ready.
Of course, because his imagination,
Absolutely.
he's relaxed.
Yes.
And he's just flowing. I call it the free state, the flowing state, right?
Yes.
Where everything is harmonious. You know what I mean? You're stepping left, you're stepping right. You see a punch come, bow, uppercut, boom. You step this way, a punch is flying, boom. Like Theo has that ability, man.
Everything's working.
Theo does have that ability.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he does. And that's what I'm talking about. That athleticism, that explosion that he can bring into the ring. That's the difference, man. That is a difference maker here.
Yeah.
But again, I think the more technical fighter, technical ability, I got to go with Barboza. I think he's a little bit more schooled. It's like, come behind his jab. Theo, sometimes he's so damn athletic, he don't even use his jab.
No.
He don't even use his jab sometimes. And I'm like, Theo, where's your jab at? Set up some shots, man. Set up your punches. Control this guy with the jab. But he only uses it sparingly. He has sprinkle it here and there, but not often. Only occasionally.
I think Barboza needs to keep Theo think him posing.
Of course.
Posing where he's not actually getting off. He's thinking too much. So that is what I think Barboza needs to do to be effective, because
if Barboza, so with Barboza going on his back foot and box, That'll have Teal thinking.
No, not just that. You can't. Okay, that's not going to do enough for you, Timmy. You can stay off your back foot, but you're going to have to go inside. You're going to have to clinch. You're going to have to give some angles. You're going to have to give the athlete some athleticism of your own. Going off the back foot ain't going to do nothing. He'll figure you on 3 rounds. Timmy.
Yep. Because the judges, again, just like it was in the Ortiz fight, they saw one guy coming forward, pressing the action. They saw another guy off the back foot, unable to stop him from coming forward. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The judges are looking for the effect. People don't understand that. That's what judges are looking for. What type of effect are you having on this fight? What type of effect are you having on your opponent? If you're bagging up all night and you're just landing some feather jabs, but I got a guy over here that's pressing forward and landing occasionally to the body with hard body shots and, looping shots, who you think I'm going to get around to? I'm going to give it to the guy that's actually coming forward and trying to dominate this fight. You're unable to stop him from coming forward. That's the reason why I'm telling you. It got to be that push and pull battle. Each guy got to have a moments going back and forth, man. It's going to be I think it's going to be a close affair. I don't think Teal's gonna run away with it, nor Barboza. I think it's gonna be a really tough fight. But I don't know who the hell I'm picking. I'll have to pick somebody as soon as it gets closer to the fight.
Same here.
But as of right now, I got it as 50-50. May the best man damn win. It's gonna be a good ass fight.
I agree with you, and I know you're referring to Jermaine Ortiz. He definitely had opportunity, just to let his hands go, and a lot of time was that pressure from Teofimo Lopez. This 2 fight here, I have it even money with Teofimo Lopez, Arnold Barboza. I got to see something at the weigh-in. Maybe I even got to see something in the walk-in that's going to eliminate. Because it's that type of fight for me, Timmy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the small things you gotta look into, right? Also some of the intangibles can be, how the fighter trained. What was your training camp? Who was your sparring partners? We don't have all that information. I mean, we can probably ask them those questions, but we don't know, because a fighter gonna lie to you. It was the best training camp ever. Oh my God, I never trained so hard before. That's all you hear in the fighter meetings. And that's the reason why I can't stand fighter meetings, because all they do is lie. And then after the result, good or bad, then that's when you hear, oh man, I hurt my hand in training camp. I did this, I did that. So we don't never know. So look, I'm hoping each of these guys have the greatest training camp of their career, like seriously, and no injuries, nothing. I don't know who's training Teofimo Lopez, because I heard that he's not training with coach with who?
No longer with Reynoso, as you know, correct?
No, he's not with Reynoso anymore. So I don't know who's training him. Yeah, I don't know if he's back with his dad, or maybe it's just his dad now. So I don't know.
I know
it's gonna be the battle of the daddies.
There you go. That could take place too. I know he was flirting with the idea of Freddie Roach early on in his career. He just made some LA visits when he happened to be in LA at Wildcard. But I really don't know what's going to happen. He just seems to be mentally ready to go as far as having a good time and having a good training camp. But they all appear to have a good training camp going in. I don't see anybody. The only one that I don't even know who's training, is Devin Haney. He seems to be the mystery right now, and we'll just have to wait and see once that first bell rings.
Yeah, I think he just get in where he fit in. I think he just go to the gym, and it's like whoever's the trainers in there he trains with. I don't know. Maybe it's his father. I'm not sure, man. I'm not trying to disrespect these guys, but there's nothing that's definitive. Usually when you have a lot of the fathers that it's shoot. The only one that's don't have their father in the corner is gonna be Barboza. No, not Barboza. Rolly.
Yeah, well, no, Barboza is going to be Arnold Barboza Sr. being Arnold's corner.
No, not yet. Barboza, but I'm talking about Rolly and Garcia. Only. Yeah. Now, is Garcia's father usually in the corner or no?
He usually is, but now he went back to his head trainer, the one he used to have, Spence.
Okay, Robert Garcia.
No,
not Robert Garcia. Not Robert Garcia. Oh my God, I'm talking about Garcia, Ryan Garcia.
Yeah,
Ryan Garcia
went back to he had
his dad.
Was it Derek?
Oh yeah. You talking about yeah. I know you're talking about you're talking about the brother from Texas.
Yeah.
The Spence's trainer.
Yeah. Well, I was former trainer, man,
Uh,
because they have their ways of
oh,
making
I
money.
forget, man. I forget his name. I'm so bad with names, man. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I know who you're talking about. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Cool. But his dad is not not a third in the corner or
He
anything
makes his
like that.
appearance there when he needs to. He really does. He's part of it somehow, some way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Coach Henry.
All
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? Speaking of Ryan Garcia, I actually I like the way he's presenting himself right now, man. I really like the way the change in his character.
yeah.
He's, we're hearing about him every single week. Something was going on. Now we don't hear anything at all. He's kind of staying low, training hard. Staying out of the picture, out of the limelight. Like, man, I hope things work out positive for him, man, because I didn't like that training camp that he had with Haney.
No,
I
really
didn't
not.
like it at all, man, and it gave a bad taste. It left a bad taste in my mouth and an even terrible impression
The impression, I
just on
agree.
in boxing. Period. In boxing, period, man. For the younger ones looking up to this guy. So, but I like him. He got his head on right. He's saying all the right things. He's not. He's promoting the fight. But he looks real serious. Looks focused. And I hope that translates inside the ring too.
What camp?
Derek James is the guy's
I was
name.
about to say. I said Derek, but I
Der-
could. Yeah, yeah,
Derek
yeah,
James.
yep. There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. I think it's a good fit. It's a different fit. Bring him back to, Derek's not going to take any BS. He's not going to take any showing up late. He's not going to take any antics. You know,
Yeah.
Derek's going to keep him professional. Derek's professional, and he's, let's not forget. A year ago, everybody was suggesting one of the best trainers in the world. That doesn't go away. Just like when
Well,
you become a world champion, that doesn't go away.
yeah. Well, look, to the fans who constantly jumping from one side to the other,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Derek James was the man.
Yep.
A few years ago, he had Charlo, he had Spence. I mean, he had a plethora of guys that he had that were on the up and up, and a few losses here, a few losses there, and now you're not a great trainer at all. So you just never know. But I think Derek James, I think I think Derek James understands what he needs to develop with the Ryan Garcia. I
Yeah.
think he understands his psyche as well. I think their first fight that they had together, they had success. Ryan was
Yeah.
able to pull off that knockout win. I forget who it was against. I have his picture in my head. However, he was able to get that knockout, and I thought he looked good. And I thought actually in the Devin fight, I thought that although we talk about his left hook, I think his right hand is starting to become somewhat developed. I think he's working on that, developing that. It's crazy to me how ironic, like what's ironic to me is that like De La Hoya, he went through the same thing in his career as Ryan Garcia from a standpoint of developing something other than his left hook.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that, where he was working on his right hand. I got to develop my right hand. I got to get my right hand working. He was heavy with the left hooks, and
Yeah.
so is Ryan Garcia. Similar situation here.
Yeah. He called it the 45 because it was kind of like a left hook, a body shot.
It's a left hook, left
all the
uppercut.
way up.
Yeah.
But I thought you
Hybrid.
were going to build a comparison is Oscar De La Hoya and different trainers. Because you got to remember, he had different trainers. He started off with Robert Altazar.
He did.
And then he went on and on with different trainers. So
Yeah,
that is why they do
that
have that
too.
common ground.
Dang, now that you think about it, yeah, that too. The left hook, of course, he had a special left hook. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of correlation between Ryan Garcia's promoter and Ryan Garcia himself.
I think they're closer than what they
and
think.
even that's why they probably can't stand each other because they are twins,
Yeah.
man. Both of them, have that sex appeal. Have that young face. That those boy band looks. Both of them can fight. Both of them got that. I don't know, that little fast little twitch. De La Hoya had this, like when he threw his punches, they were crisp, like what?
Yeah.
With that left hook. Ryan, he kind of brings that too.
Yeah.
That feet close to the ground, sliding, boom. You know what I mean? The quick little I don't know. I don't know what you call that, man. But just the technique are similar
Yeah,
in
Ryan's a little.
places.
I think Ryan's a little bit more flat-footed than Oscar was. Oscar attempted to be on his toes for the most part off the jab, but still,
Yeah,
those hands, they're
yeah,
flurries. I mean, I think the same speed, the same appeal, and you got to remember, Timothy, Oscar De La Hoya changed the sport of boxing as far as women would only show up when it was like Bo Derek or somebody at ringside. When Oscar De La
yeah.
Hoya was there, 80% was women. It was okay. Now it's
Man,
okay for women to show up in boxing to look sexy, professional, and now they're fans.
that's funny.
But who opened
That's
the door?
cool. Yeah.
A lot of when
That's a
Oscar was
good
there.
outlook. I like that. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah. You're right. You're right. He did, man. I mean, all the women came out to see De La Hoya,
Well, that's why a
man.
lot of people hated him. And like when people tell me, I don't like Oscar, I say you don't like him for two reasons. One, because he either beat Chavez and you're a Chavez fan, or two, because your old lady,
Yeah.
probably has a poster of him on the refrigerator. I don't know. What do you do? Take the pick.
Right? You should be inspired. You should be Oscar, right?
Right. There
Man.
you go.
And he got more money than you on top of that too. So
Absolutely. And,
God,
he's the golden boy.
yeah. Oh yeah, Golden Boy. And then but you got Ryan Garcia. You got Ryan Garcia now. He's like the poster boy, you
He
know?
is. And
He,
in my
he got a lot of eyeballs on him, man.
he
Huge
does.
on social media.
He does. And
And that's the reason why he is the headliner.
yes,
That's why he's the headliner.
the tickets.
Although Teofimo Lopez has fought Lomachenko and he beat Josh Taylor, you know, Ryan Garcia is still the top of the bill. Isn't that that's so interesting to me?
And
Because the name,
I,
it's namesake,
I
baby.
and check this out. He's all
It's
that,
about names.
and he doesn't even have a world title.
I never fought for one.
No. And when he could,
The
he
title
declined
wasn't
because
on
he
the
didn't make
line.
weight.
Yeah, wasn't on the line. So like, hey, that you know what? It makes me think about like if I had an opportunity to start a career over, if I can be reincarnated and get in one of these kids or something and start my career over, it's a different way of thinking about the business. Um,
Yes.
what's more important? I understand legacy, I understand belts and so on and so forth, but and some people fight for that. But what if you don't fight for that? What if you just fight for the money, and the healthiness of your family, right?
Yeah.
Um, but what I really want to say is that it's about popularity and how many butts you can put in that seat, man. That's
Yeah.
what it's about. Because
Exactly.
boxing, at the end of the day, where you look at it or not, it's a sport, but it's also more so. I would say it's a business at the end of the day. So I
Promoters
would
don't get
say I
involved.
would grow my social media like crazy,
There you
man. I
go.
would grow my following like crazy.
Well, I tell you what, it's gonna grow.
Shoot.
You know what? We should drop some news right now. I'm gonna let you think about it. I'm gonna put you on the spot. It will grow like crazy when it says the fighter's voice with Timothy Bradley and Richard Ortiz. Boom. Think about that. I would put your name first.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate that, man. Hey, look, you extremely knowledgeable, man. You're extremely knowledgeable, and it's a blessing to be being interviewed by you and just having a conversation, man. It really is. Like,
Thank you.
I see you around, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't know you was this knowledgeable in the game. You know your stuff. You do know your stuff, man, and so. Hey, look, I like that. I do respect you, and I respect that about your game, man. You know your stuff, bro. So
Well,
yeah, big ups, man.
hey, I got a request for you too, and we're gonna put the manager's
What's up, bud?
hat back on. I'm gonna send you some of my
Okay.
commentating and my post-fight interviews. Shop it around. Take your cut, Timothy. Represent the host of the Fighter's Voice, man. And I know you can make it happen. Or I would love to do a show with you, sitting right next to you, man. We can make that happen. You got to
That'd
remember,
be awesome.
my mama said, "A quiet mouth don't get fed."
Hey, that hey, you ain't lying on that. A closed mouth don't get fed. Yep.
No.
My mom said the same exact thing. Is that a Miguel Cotto shirt on you got?
No, it's Tyson Fury and Deontay.
Oh, that's a Fury
Yeah.
shirt. Oh, Fury and
Deontay.
Wilder.
Yeah, I'd love Deontay, man. Super
Oh,
cool guy. So is Fury. Both different
yeah.
characters. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Where's your platform? Where's
Fresno,
the voice
California.
platform?
Fresno.
I know, but where is it? Where is it? Is it? Where can I see it at? Is it on
Oh, it's on YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah,
Is
of
it on?
course. I'm gonna tag you with everything. Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah,
Okay.
we have a YouTube channel.
Oh, YouTube.
That's what we do.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna take it.
You don't do it. You don't have a podcast. Like you don't have a podcast or anything like
No,
that.
we have a podcast. I need to load up more on Spotify and all that stuff. Right now,
Okay, you do have it on Spotify.
yes, our older ones on there. We
Oh.
need to revamp and put everything back on there. 120, 10%.
Oh
Yeah,
wow, Rich.
yeah,
Oh, that's so cool, man.
yeah.
Hey, that's awesome, man. I just started like a YouTube page about 3.5 months ago.
Okay.
It's very self-explanatory. It's simple. It's nothing like you got with the belts in it. You know what I mean? I'm not sitting in or you know what I mean? I'm just kind of like my day-to-day. I stop in, I drop
Yeah.
by, I just, do what we doing now. Whatever comes the topics of the boxing world, what's going on, and I sit there and I just elaborate on what I think. Talk about the style matchups, talk about what I think, but about the business and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's pretty simple. No edits, no cuts, just straight
That works
shooter.
too.
But that's what I do now. But I'm not like it's not a full-time gig. I do it every now
Yeah.
and then. But
Well,
just trying to grow there in that area as well.
If you ever need some things cut up, man, I'll send you to my boy Shally or my dude, my producer, KP. The best in the business. They'll keep it short and sweet, short and simple. Yeah, I got to line you up with them, man. They'll make you some cuts, bro. They'll take care of you.
Oh, that's tight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
We'll make that happen
Okay.
for you.
All right. Absolutely, man. I appreciate that.
Okay. Absolutely. I
What's good?
got to talk to you about this. And I
Okay.
almost made a Timothy Bradley challenge during COVID.
Go ahead.
Everybody's on there. They have masks. And, certain times the camera catches you and you're not supposed to be on there. Timothy Bradley did not care, ladies and gentlemen. He had a homemade tortilla with a sausage link in there and was eating it on camera. And you know what I said? I knew he's half Mexican. I knew he has some Mexican in him. Hey, bro, because that's the way we do it.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know what, man? Look, I was hungry. I said, I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat. And he was just like, oh, really? Okay. Well, I got something for you. So he showed me on camera when he wasn't supposed to show me on camera, but it is what it is, man. But yeah, that's what I do. That was funny. That was a funny time. I do remember that, man. That's crazy. You used to watch all these shows, man. That's insane. Man, Rich, for real.
Timmy, come on.
Man, yeah. That was back when we were in the bubble.
Yes, sir.
And that was back when COVID was heavy.
Oh, it was.
And we were in the bubble, and I was actually doing it from my house.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah. And MGM looked like a ghost town. They show you and Bernardo, Dre, and I think Dre had a pizza. You guys walking, there was nobody in there around. It was a ghost town.
Nobody in there, man.
You still performed your job and you kept it real. You and Robert Garcia, trainer, are the most realest people I've had on the show. That don't shy away from a question, and they deliver every single time with honesty, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's room for guys like myself. There's room for guys like Robert Garcia as well. Sometimes, you don't need a filter.
No.
Sometimes you don't need a filter. Just say what's on your heart, man. Some people are receptive to that. Some people are turned off by it. But, at the end of the day, I'm going to be me.
Yeah.
And how you perceive what I'm saying, that's on you. So I say everything out of love. I don't say it out of hate.
Oh,
so you hear me on the tube or on the camera or even in this interview here. As I'm elaborating about Ramirez early on, I say it out of love. But I'm a competitor. Always been, always will be, through and through. So and I'm gonna keep it 100 with you and give you what I really think. Not no fluff, not no agenda pushing. No, I'm gonna give you what I truly think and what I truly believe. So, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
And just like myself, I want to be honest with you. I'm probably going to catch some emails or some text messages. Oh, why'd you bring that up here? Because I live in Fresno with Jose. But these are the questions that need to be asked. I'm not going to keep this question myself. When I have a guest and I'm going to talk about it in a very respectful way, and I did. And if I can't ask those questions or interview the winner who beat somebody that I know, then I'm in the wrong business. So
yeah,
I got to be able to do those.
I agree with you.
Decisions.
I agree with you, but that's why I think that's why I respect you, is because of that, man. Because you ask the hard questions. A lot of people shy away from hard questions, and I'm the same way. I ask the hard questions, the one like elephant in the room, right? I'm asking those type of
Yeah.
questions, because people want to know, and it's a part of your job. It's part of being a great journalism is asking the tough questions. So, hey, I don't shy away from it, man. If you ask me a question, if it deserves an answer, then I'll give you an answer. There's no doubt about it. So, but
Well, I
yeah,
appreciate it.
those and shoot, you asked me a couple other politic questions too, so that I answered.
Yeah, no, of course you did.
About you remember about Tank's situation, and
Absolutely.
about what Tank did,
Absolutely.
you know. So
I kept watching
it's
that
all
over and over
love.
again because I'm like, man, this stuff gives me goosebumps because this is real. Why isn't anybody else talking about it? Are they ignoring that the fact this just happened? I mean, it's like
Yeah,
ignore that man behind the curtain. No, I mean, let's talk about that curtain. And you did, he did, and here we are.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yep. Well, shoot, man, you got anything else for me,
Well,
big
I'm going to
dog?
tell you this. You talked about a YouTube channel. Tell the viewers, the fans, the followers, how can we subscribe to Timothy Bradley's YouTube channel and how can we follow you?
Hey, look, just look up Timothy Desert Storm Bradley Jr. Timothy Desert Storm Bradley Jr. on YouTube. You can follow me at Tim Bradley Jr. At Tim Bradley Jr. And on all the social media platforms. So at TimBradleyJr.com, at TimBradleyJr.com, or at Tim Bradley Jr.
Hey,
And then again, my YouTube channel is Timothy Desert Storm Bradley Jr. And that's my YouTube channel. You just research that, and you should be able to see me on there.
exactly.
All right,
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank our guest, the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only
appreciate you.
Mr. Timothy Bradley. And if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, it's www.youtube.com/thefightersvoice. Remember, every fighter has a voice, and so do you. As always, it's a wrap. Thumbs up for Richie.
Okay, fight fans, it's not goodbye, but until next week. Remember, it's always voiceography at its finest. So on behalf of Richard Ortiz, the special guests, saying hasta luego, babies. And always, thanks for listening.